Good morning friends, welcome. In last video we explored the temple from inside, and in this video, that is part 2, we will explore this temple from the outside. So let us start. In 8th century, when this temple was originally constructed, the Nandi Mandapa, Sabha Mandapa and Garbhagruha was the original temple architecture that time. Later in 1230 AD, in the era of Yadava dynasty, Yadava rulers beautified this temple with addition of beautiful and marvelous sculptures of Sursundri, Apsara, Gandharva, Yaksha, Bhairava, Chamundi and many more deities. But this temple could not bear this beauty for a long time. It even could not escape the clutches of foreign invaders. The invaders like Aurangzeb, Afzal Khan, Khilji destroyed this temple, desecrated this temple. They did not desecrated this temple only, but also disfigured these marvelous and beautiful sculptures of this temple. And you can evidently see this barbarity inside this temple. In this temple, on the wall, there are carvings of instances from Ramayana and Mahabharata. They are carved as a mural form on the panel. Here are some instances from Ramayana where Kaushalya is worshipping Bijpura, a divine entity for fertility. And here King Dashratha with Kaushalya performing Putra Kameshti Yajna. This is a Bijpura, a divine entity for fertility. This is Kaushalya, and behind her there are maid servants. And here is a payasam given by divine being to King Dashratha. From that, Dashratha was blessed with four sons Ram, Bharat, Lakshman, and Shatrughan. And now this carving shows the celebration of the joy. And here is Bharat meeting Lord Rama. Here in this carving, a rider is riding camel, and those camels are female camels, so they are called in Marathi Sandniswar. Sandniswars were used to pass on the message quickly and fastly. So in this reference about hearing Rama's exile because of his mother's wicked plan, Bharata sent messengers to meet to Rama in the forest. And here is a meet between Ram and Bharat. Bharat tried to convince Rama to come back to Ayodhya and become a king. So this discussion is shown by this carving here. This is called Bharat Bhet. Then here is another carving. When Ram and Lakshman came to Kishkinda Nagari, then Sugriva in Kishkinda Nagari wanted Hanumana to find out about the Ram and Lakshman. So here is a carving of Lord Hanumana who is in greeting posture with mace, and the left side sitting person is Sugriva who is telling to Hanumana go and find out who are those two strangers. So this incident is shown through this carving. Hanuman became friend, supporter and great devotee of Ram, and he introduced Ram and Lakshman to rest of the Vanar Sena and assured to help find out Ma Sita. And this was shown through this carving where Vanar Sena is welcoming Ram and Lakshman in a polite way. The plain ground on which temple is built is called Adhisthana. Above Adhisthana there is Vedisthana. Vedisthana might have many more steps, but here we get to see one single step. Above Vedisthana, the sharp protruding edge is called Kani in temple architecture. Above Kani, the stone structure on which the carvings of celestial maidens and dancers apsaras are made is called Kumbhasthana. Why it is called Kumbhasthana? Kumbha means holy pot and where water is kept. So this entire structure is in the shape of kumbha, and this kumbha came with elixir of life, that is nectar, in sea churning or samudra manthan, in a battle between devtas and danavas. So this is auspicious thing, and it is in the form of kumbha. That's what it is called kumbhasthana. Above kumbhasthana, the structure is called Mandovar. Mandovar consists of two parts. One is Shikara, other is Janga. Now we see here Janga part of the temple, where we see the dexterously and deeply carved structures or sculptures of Apsaras, Gandharvas, Yakshas, and many more deities. So, temple is like a human body where every part of the body is decorated with gorgeously and artistically crafted sculptures and carvings. There are more than 150 idols and sculptures on the Janga portion of this temple. These gorgeous and beautiful sculptures of this temple were the ornaments in bygone ages. These ornaments were not only snatched by the invaders but also disfigured and damaged. In ancient India, one of the lethal weapons was Vishkanya. Kings used this weapon to kill or to assassinate their enemy. So here I found carving of Vishkanya who is holding a snake in her hand, and since the childhood the girls were given a crafted poisonous diet or a poison, and then they would become resistant to the poison and even their bodily fluid would become as poisonous. So this is what the carving of Vishkanya. And this another carving which is partially intact is of Darpana, a name of Sursundri, who is looking her face in a mirror for makeup, and you can see she is holding a mirror in her hand. And the miniature carving of this Darpana is here on the Upan or the Kumbha portion of the temple. On the circumambulatory path of this temple at the ceiling there are many triad panels. One of the triad panels you are seeing is a Vinayaki panel. Why it is called Vinayaki panel? Because the other name of Lord Ganesha is a Vinayak. And here you see Lord Ganesha is seen or is depicted in a female avatar. And below the idol of Lord Ganesha there is a symbol of mouse. Also at a center you see Lord Vishnu is seen in a female avatar. Below that idol there is a symbol of Garuda. And then at right side there is a female version of Lord Kartikeya. So idea behind showing them in a female version is that their divine power or divine strength. It is called Shakti, and Shakti is symbolized in a female version. And This is another Vinayaki panel where again we see Lord Ganesha in a female avatar. But unlike earlier Vinayaki panel, here in the center we see Lord Shiva in a female version. Because below Lord Shiva's idol there is a carving of Nandi, and Nandi is a mount of Lord Shiva. And at the right side there is idol of goddess Gayatri, a Shakti form of Lord Brahma. Now here Lord Shiva is shown in a Shakti form because Lord Shiva's strength or power is symbolized as a Shakti. That's what we call it Shiva Shakti. This is the third triad panel, and here we see trio of goddesses. Here we see the leftmost idol is of goddess Chamundi, and goddess Chamunda is portrayed with corpse. So you see the carving of corpse below her idol. She is shown as standing on a corpse. And the middle or the center idol is of goddess Indrayani because the carving of elephant is below the idol, and elephant is a mount of Lord Indra. Hence, the Shakti of Lord Indra is called Indrayani. And the idol is shown in a Varada Mudra. And the rightmost idol is again of goddess Indrayani, but is shown with Abhay Mudra. And this is the fourth triad panel where we see trio of goddesses, but the name of the goddesses are from left to right is Para, the middle one is Apara, and the right one is Parapara. And these goddesses are visualized in a doing or performing yogic activity. This fragment of full-length sculpture portraying ferocious Hindu goddess Kali, also known as Goddess Chamunda. Goddess Chamunda is shown with ferocious eyes in a sunken socket of skeletal, and also in her emaciated torso a symbol of scorpion is shown. She is always portrayed as riding corpse. Goddess Kali decapitated demon Chanda and Munda, therefore her name was given Chamunda. This broken idol is of Lord Bhairava. Lord Bhairava is always shown naked, and in some sculptures he is shown with the garland of human skulls on his head. In a Shiva temple, there is a water pot on a Shivlinga, and Abhisheka is done on a Shivlinga from that water pot. Now, how to take out this accumulated water from the Garbhagruha to the outside? And there is arrangement provided in an ancient temple. Mostly it is called Makarmukha or Gomukha. And here you see the same arrangement. Makarmukha means what? The point from where the water is taken out, there is a statue of Makara and Jaladevata. That's what it is called Makarmukha. And when there is a statue or sculpture of the cow head, then it is called Gomukha. Now I have come to the Mahabharata panel where we get to see many incidences from Mahabharata. And these incidences are carved as a mural form on a stone panel. Here you see Lord Krishna shown in his divine avatar with the four hands and shown discussing with King Drupada. King Drupada was the father of Draupadi, and this incident is of Draupadi Swayamvara. And here Draupadi is shown holding Varmala in her hand. She is a Draupadi holding Varmala in her hand. This is Varmala. And the Swayamvara means groom choosing ceremony, where the criteria for the Swayamvara was that whoever will string a ornated bow and will hit the moving object tied at the ceiling, looking down its reflection in a water pot, will win Draupadi. This is the water pot at the bottom where the person has to look down and hit the aperture target tied at the ceiling. And interestingly, the person shown here in a Brahmin garb is Arjuna. He is holding the bow, but here bow is broken and the moving target tied at the ceiling at the top. The only person who wins this Swayamvara was Arjun. Arjun then was married to Draupadi, and this incident is shown here that Arjuna is sitting aside the holy marriage fire, and behind her is a Draupadi as a bride. Now, this is another incident from the Mahabharata. The incident is based on the battle between Arjuna and Bhishma Pitamaha. Actually, I could not shoot this incident in a temple because there was a heavy dark. And so I want the photographic explanation here. So here, if you notice in this photo, the first thing you will find is the miniature sculpture or carving of Lord Krishna in his divine avatar. That means he is shown here with four hands. And he is also shown as the charioteer. And who was the warrior? The warrior was Arjuna because Lord Krishna was a charioteer of Arjuna in Mahabharata. And second thing that this miniature carving of Lord Hanumana is a symbol on a flag of Arjuna. So this was the flag of Arjuna where the Hanumana was portrayed, and because of that this chariot is of Arjuna, and Arjuna is fighting with Bhishma Pitamaha. Why? Because this carving is destroyed here. Okay, so we could not identify to whom he is fighting, but we could definitely identify the symbol on Bhishma's flag. If you see this is a makara, a aquatic animal, and in Mahabharata, the Makar Dhwaja was of Gangaputra Bhishma. It is mentioned there, and that's why this warrior is Pitamaha Bhishma, and this battle is between Arjuna and Pitamaha Bhishma. Now, this is another panel from Mahabharata. This panel shows the event happened on 10th day of the Great War of Mahabharata. So, the figures on this panel are damaged, so could not be identified, but I identified by their flag symbol. This is Makar Dhwaja. That means this Makar Dhwaja belongs to Bhishma. So here the warrior is Bhishma. Then here you see Madhava is shown sitting on a chariot as a charioteer, and here is a Kapidhoja, a symbol of Lord Hanumana on the flag, that is Kapidhoja, and Kapidhoja belongs to Arjuna. So this figure is Arjuna. And now who is this figure? So the symbol on the flag is ram, and the ram was a flag symbol of Shrikhandi. So who was the Shrikhandi in Mahabharata? Shrikhandi was a transgender. In his previous birth, he was a woman, and he took the oath that he will defeat, he will be a cause to defeat or to kill Pitamaha Bhishma in a revenge. So what happened? Lord Krishna knew this, and then Lord Krishna suggested advice to Pandavas to bring Shrikhandi into the battlefield. Okay, because on ninth day, Pandavas actually went to Bhishma's camp at night as advocated by Lord Krishna, and then they requested Bhishma the way out of his defeat, and Bhishma hinted them that he will not raise the weapon against a woman warrior. So on 10th day, Shrikhandi was brought into the war, and here Arjuna was playing the role to protect him. And when Shrikhandi and Bhishma came before each other, Bhishma avoided Shrikhandi and started to leave the place. But from behind, Arjuna spotted his weak points and shoot number of arrows. The arrows pierced Bhishma's body, and Bhishma fell down. He was defeated there. So this is what the story shown in this panel. After fall of Pitamaha Bhishma, in this panel we see Pitamaha Bhishma lying on a bed of arrows, and both the parties, Kaurava and Pandava, with Lord Krishna gathered to pay obeisance to Pitamaha Bhishma. After fall of Gangaputra Bhishma as a general of Kaurava's army, Dronacharya was made the new general, and Dronacharya was fighting fiercely in the war. So, here in this panel, we get to see what happened on 15th day of the Great War. On 15th day, Dronacharya was fighting, and he killed many soldiers of Pandava's armies. And then it became very difficult for Pandavas to stop him. So Lord Krishna again devised a new tactic, and he suggested Bhimsena to kill Ashwathama, the elephant. And Ashwathama was the name of Dronacharya's son also. So what happened when Bhima killed Ashwathama, elephant? He loudly proclaimed that he killed Ashwathama, and this news spread all across the battlefield. And when Dronacharya came to know, he could not believe. So he asked Yudhishthira, "Is it true?" Yudhishthira said, "Yes, Ashwathama was killed," and indistinctly he uttered elephant, which could not be heard by Dronacharya. So he felt very great sorrow as his son was killed, and then he got down his chariot, sat for a meditation to find out the soul of his son. And this opportunity was actually grabbed by Drushtadumya. So, what Drushtadumya did here, it is shown he was on chariot, then he jumped from the chariot and he beheaded Dronacharya. So, you see the head of Dronacharya here. So, it is shown that he was beheaded. So, here why I identified this as the 15th day event and Dronacharya and Drushtadumya, because if you see here, this symbol is a water pot and this symbol belongs to Dronacharya. So this warrior is Dronacharya, and here is a animal shown as a sacrifice in a fire. So this symbol belongs to Drushtadumya, and that's what he is, Drushtadumya. He is actually jumping out of his chariot with the sword, and then he beheaded Dronacharya, and this way Dronacharya was killed on 15th day of Mahabharata. And this entire story in a Shilpa Katha is shown here in this temple. In this panel, we get to see Ghatatkocha in a center, and he is shown as swirling the elephant in a battlefield. So Ghatatkoch was the giant, he was a demon, and he was the son of Bhim and demonesses Hidimba. He was such a giant that he used to swirl the elephant, so that here you see the elephant is shown above him, and he made a havoc in a Kaurava's army. And to stop him, Karna had to use Vasavi Shakti on him to kill him. This panel shows the event happened on 17th day of Mahabharat war. The battle took place between two great warriors, Arjun and Karna. This is Arjun and this is Lord Krishna as a charioteer of Arjun. And opponent was Karna. This is Karna and his charioteer was Shalya. And in this battle, Karna was killed by Arjun. This happened on 17th day of Mahabharata war. This panel shows the last event of Mahabharata war, and the event took place on 18th day of the war, where two warriors are shown here fighting with each other. And who are the two warriors? Here the right side is a Shalya, because the symbol on his flag is plow, and the left side is Yudhishthira. The symbol on his flag was moon. And after fall of Karna, Shalya was made new commander of Kaurava army. And in this battle, Shalya was killed on 18th day. In this temple, I found a very significant panel, and the name of the panel is Gunadhya's panel. So here you see in the center Gunadhya is shown. Now around Gunadhya there are many animals, and these animals are listening to Gunadhya. It is shown like that. Now who was the Gunadhya? Gunadhya was 1st century versatile writer. He was master in literary art, capable of weaving story of romantic adventures, of marvel, of myth and magic. He was the contemporary of Satvahana rulers. He was at service of Satvahana kings, and he wrote a story house, and his stories are known Brihit Katha, and these stories were referenced by many known writers of that time. Dandini, Somdeva both took the reference of Gonadhya's story, and then their work became famous. So what happened? Gunadhya wrote Brihat Katha in a Prakrit language, that is Paishachi. It is a local language of Vindhyaranya. And now you see this incident here. Gunadhya is shown telling stories loudly and also shown casting the leaves or the piece of the paper into the fire. And when he was doing that, when he was telling the stories, the all animals in the forest gathered and paid rapt attention to his storytelling. So this is what the incident shown here. Now, coming back in early 20th century, two British scholars they identified this story house as a valuable work and published in the Europe. And then this story house became common name in India and all across the world. So this is what the valuable work done by Gunadhya in first century. There is more and above to explore in and around of this enigmatic temple. The enigma of this temple is intact. Even mighty jet stream of time, Kalaha, could not shatter the enigma of this temple because the supreme power Mahakal is situated in the Garbhagruha of this temple. This is all about the enchanted and enigmatic Bhuleshwar temple. Please do visit this temple. If you like my videos, please do subscribe, share and comment below. Thank you.